This is Sordin Supreme Pro versus a gear review video. Today, we're digging into that bag of tricks and going to the old gear review rather than, say, a first range report. Why? Well, it turns out Banner Shooting Range has had some scheduled PTO days and some unscheduled PTO days as of late, which has left us without some of our planned recording days. So we are doing a video that doesn't require much of any range footage, but still a good video that should be very beneficial to really all of our users. The reason for that is, of the many things you should take with you on your trips to the range is hearing protection and eye protection. And today we're going to be looking at hearing protection, and we're going to be doing so in the form of a review of some hearing protection that one of the crew sent me as a holiday gift, the Sordin Supreme Pro hearing protection. Now this hearing protection, and when we talk about it, I might as well wear it to give you an idea of the size of this hearing protection. Now this, I believe, is the thin or slim line of the Sordin Supreme. I think they have a little fatter version. These, I believe, have approximately 25 decibels of passive sound protection. They are amplified, and so they do, when it is turned on, they will amplify sounds around you with a limiter that I think it is anything above 82 decibels gets cut off. These are obviously considered over-ear hearing protection, and I might even be yelling a little into the mic at this point because of how quiet I think I am, and I'm trying to accommodate for that. And now we'll briefly take a look at Sordin's website. We're taking a look at this website to show you that there are a great many features built into these hearing protection. We're going to talk about absolutely none of them today. And mostly because I can't go into things about audio, sciences, and frankly, most of our viewers are probably more interested in knowing how good are they as hearing protection at the base level. Well, let's get into that discussion now. For the cups of the hearing protection, the version that we have, which there's a few different versions. The versions that we have these gel rings, which have sort of an inner and an outer silicone gel, and they're actually quite comfortable. Looking at them, they don't really hug your ear. You can get your ear inside the ring, and it's interesting because when you read the marketing materials or the packaging, it says the gel ring is recommended for people wearing eye protection. Well, it's important to remember that hearing protection isn't only used by people doing recreation shooting sports. There are people that use it every day in their work, say working with heavy machinery, around loud equipment, any number of other reasons. Maybe they're the roadie at the rock concert, whatever. Hearing protection is important for anywhere that it's going to get loud or even loudish. So you want something, if you're going to be wearing it all day, that's comfortable. And I think the silicone rings are comfortable. But one interesting thing is it mentions that these rings are recommended for people that wear safety glasses because you get a better seal. And I do think so far, based on my test, that is true. I get a very comfortable seal around my glasses, and it doesn't feel like it's really punishing my face with my glasses frame being forced into my head like some other hearing protection is wanting to do. Now, another note here is, and I should have paid attention on other hearing protection in the past because I'm sure this is not the only company that recommends this. Sordin recommends that you replace these gel hearing cups as well as the inner components of that twice a year. So we'll say every 6 months. They sell replacements, though on their website I didn't see the buy option. I believe these may actually be 3M gel components and what they call the 3M hygiene kit. They're on Sordin's website. They also call it the hygiene kit. Unconfirmed by me. I'm still going to look into that. We'll do an updated video in the future to confirm that. But I'm pretty sure this is the 3M gel insert and associated components that Sordin is using, like many other companies use 3M products as part of their product. Now, besides the what we're called the passive hearing protection and the gel cups, these do an amplification. So say if you're sitting in like your deer stand, your duck blind, whatever it may be, and you want to hear like that twig break, oh my God, Buck Norris is coming, I need to be ready. You can turn on the amplification, sit back, be as still and quiet as possible, and you can hear things. Now, in my opinion, the amplification on the Sordin is aggressive, we'll say. At the lowest level, when I am somewhere at, say, the indoor range, I cannot use it at all because it is overwhelming. Like just the general background noise or talking, to where I can't use that at all somewhere like the indoor range. At the outdoor range, somewhere like Banner, pretty similar with the concrete barricade setup there. You do get punished with the sound more than, say, if you're shooting at an open air training facility. I suspect at a training facility where, say, it was just me and the crew and not worrying about others' background noise, we could use the amplification with greater success in a range shooting experience, we'll say. In a deer stand, something like that, I do think having that level of amplification where you could hear that twig snap or the leaf get stepped on or whatever, the snow frost crackle, could definitely be beneficial to setting up your shot to helping you have the greatest success possible in your hunting experience. Now, another note here, I've included a shot of the battery hatch, which is on the other side of the hearing protection. They require 2 AAA batteries, and you'll notice the width, we're going to say, of the hearing protection cannot accommodate 2 batteries. I have seen comments on the hearing protection saying things like, the battery rattles around, the amplification doesn't work, rah. That's because they're only putting 1 battery in. And if you look at the zoomed up little sticker that we have included at the bottom corner of your screen, you actually load the batteries very similar to how rounds would be loaded in, say, an internal box-fed rifle, where you put like a round in, you push it down, it like clicks into the magazine, you take your next round, you put it on top, you push it down, it clicks in. Same idea here. You push 1 battery in, and then you kind of push it down a little with, in my case, your pinky, and it snaps down, and then you put your second battery on top of that and close your battery hatch, and voila, your amplification works forking fantastic, in my opinion. Almost too well. At the lowest level is the highest I can use it. Now, before we move on to what we're going to compare this hearing protection against, let's show you a segment to prove that we actually did use it somewhere like the indoor range where your hearing protection is critical.
Okay, this is 5 shots from the Gold Pearson at Rudolph's Gone Rogue down there. We're going to see if we can put him down in 5 shots or less. 25 yards for Santa. Here we go.
Now, one thing you'll notice in that brief clip is we were using our Sordin Supreme Pro at a local range, indoor range, Daryl's. Fantastic indoor range and gun shop, by the way. Especially in winter when the weather gets crappy, you can go to Daryl's and shoot indoor, nice climate-controlled environment. Highly recommend it. Now, as a comparison to the Sordin Supreme, let's take a look at the hearing protection that you will see in probably 99.99% of the videos we've posted in the past. These are the Howard Light by Honeywell Impact Pro hearing protection. These offer up to 30 decibels of passive sound protection with up to 82 decibels of active sound protection with their amplification. These are also an amplified set of hearing protection. They are a much bigger set of hearing protection compared to our Sordin Supreme Pro, though some of that is I intentionally go with the biggest, fattest, most sound protection possible hearing protection that I can get. Impact Pro does have a thinner line, what they call the Impact Pro Sport, I think it is, Impact Sport, which are a much thinner line of hearing protection, which is the only other pair of hearing protection you'll see me have worn in videos on the channel, which I will wear occasionally when shooting a rifle, where the hearing protection, these big fat hearing protection, prevent me from getting a good cheek rest on the stock to look down a sight, where like my hearing protection bumps and it knocks my hearing protection off. So I will go down to the Sport line, which is a little thinner, but you lose about 5 decibels of sound protection. Those are about 25 decibels compared to these being at 30. Now, in some of these pictures, you'll notice at the top, my GoPro mount, I added that for the channel. This is a aftermarket part, not stock. Now, because I consider this a simpler set of hearing protection, we are going to have fewer pictures. The ear cups are what I'm going to call the older style ear cups. And I still believe these are also a 3M ear cup with insert, though don't quote me on that. We're going to have to make sure we confirm that. After reading the Sordin materials and looking at these ear cup inserts are absolutely replaceable. I've never replaced them. I probably should have. Who knows what ear germs have been growing. And there's like super ear bacteria germs or something in my hearing protection at this point. Don't ever use them but me. As far as the controls on the hearing protection, on the side of the hearing protection, in this case today, it is on my right side, you have a very simple dial where it clicks on, and then as you go down, your volume goes lower. So it starts out, or I have that backwards. As you go down, your volume goes up. As you scroll up, your volume goes down. And then click back for off. Now, on both hearing protections, there are mini Y plugs where you could plug in something like an MP3 player. At somewhere like the shooting range, definitely not recommended, because if, say, there's an emergency or the go cold buzzer, whatever, you need to be able to hear that. You don't want to have like AC, DC blasting in your ear and you miss that something traumatic or whatever has happened that you should have been paying attention to. Anyway, much simpler hearing protection. The narrower Sport line, as far as the cups, the same cups though narrower, similar functionality. The roll button is a little small, a little differently located in a different position, maybe a little fatter, but same design, simple roll. But basic hearing protection, these you adjust by sort of pulling down and like squeezing it onto your head tighter. I should have talked about the adjustment. A similar adjustment style, though I feel like the adjustment on the Sordin Supreme is a little more secure Like, I don't have to adjust it every time. These, every time I put them on, I have to readjust them to my head. And it's not like I have Barry Bonds growing forehead or whatever. So, you know, there's just some play that happens when you take them on and off. Now, one thing I will mention here is these have a very different, compared to the Sordin 3M gel cups, these traditional ones on the Impact Pro, while they are initially comfortable, after, I don't know, 90 minutes, a couple hours or so, between your safety glasses and your face or the side of your head, you feel that pressure where eventually you're like, ugh. And I don't know, after a day or so, to me it feels like you get like almost a mini bruise right there, where you feel it for a couple days afterwards, which if you're having to wear hearing protection all day, every day, combined with eye protection, that level of comfort is going to come into play, which is where I'm starting to prefer, I should say, the Sordin hearing protection with these gel inserts. And I might even look at seeing if I can get those same gel ring inserts for these Honeywell Impact Pros. Now, again, why that's important is with a recreational shooting sport like what we often do on this channel, eye protection is every bit as important as your ear protection. And if you have comfortable eye and ear protection, you're just going to have a better time. Now, before we move on, I want to take a moment and look at a comment off the inner tubes that we are going to feature as part of a later Best of Gun subreddit video, but it sort of applies in this situation, so we're going to take a moment and talk about it here. There was a post on the inner tubes where someone was commenting on their very expensive rifle they purchased at their what they felt was a modest salary. And in their video, besides their very expensive rifle, they had a very expensive Special Forces style helmet with the hearing protection that reminded me very much of my Sordin hearing protection. But what they were missing was a complete lack of eye protection. And of course, the internet called them out on this. Helmet, but no eye pro? Are you worried the casing is going to bounce off your forehead? And the submitter replies, don't think shells that fly to the side 100% of the time will hit the ground and bounce back to my eyes. That may be true. But did you consider that eye protection is not only for the brass coming out of your weapon? I do not have enough fingers and toes to count the number of times I have been somewhere like a shooting contest as a spectator, off to the side, well within the safety zone, and had a piece of lead fly off of a target, off of a ricochet, and hit me in my forehead, off my safety glasses, off my hat, any number of other places. There have been numerous times I've been at the indoor range where people have decided they want to abuse the facilities because they are jackwagons and don't appreciate awesome facilities. So they shoot things like the light fixtures and the walls and the ceilings. And you end up taking ricochets, again, off your safety glasses, off your forehead, off your hearing protection, your eye protection, any number of other places. It sucks. There have been numerous times where even shooting at the range, where you get some, we'll say, because we shoot budget ammo most of the time on this channel, sometimes you get ammo that's more budget than other ammo, and it has cast-off particulates, be it powder, ash shards, or flakes, whatever. If you did not have your eye protection and you took a 1mm square flake to your eyeball, that could absolutely render you incapacitated. Eye protection is every bit as important as your hearing protection, and if you can absolutely help it, don't shoot without either one. Thanks for joining our eye and ear protection TED Talk. Let's get back to the review. Before we get to the conclusion to today's video, let's take a moment to give a shout out to our channel members.
first customer.
To our first and only customer.
In addition to the many free ways you're already helping support this channel, like watching our videos, liking our videos, subscribing to the channel, if you would like to do more to support the channel, think about becoming a member. And for our newer viewers, in case you're wondering, 100% of the revenue generated by this channel goes to charity. All of it. So thank you. Thanks for watching. We do really appreciate your viewership. You watching our videos, liking, subscribing, and now becoming members helps us do positive things with firearms related content. Thanks for watching. And now let's get to the conclusion to today's video. Many people are going to ask, so Bacon, which hearing protection is better and why? And the honest answer to that is, I don't know. I know that's not the answer you were expecting, but I think it really depends. When it comes down to it, how many people have the budget to spend $250 or more on hearing protection? If I'm being honest, I wouldn't even have begun to consider looking at them for the simple reason that also a gift from a member of the crew now many years ago, hearing protection that offers 30 decibels of hearing protection with amplification have been more than adequate, and they were priced just right. Now they are also, if you did not get them as a gift like I did, this is a gift from the crew, not from the company, by the way. I have nothing to do with the company. They did not send me anything. I did not gain anything by talking about their product. They work perfectly well. I'm able to stick my YouTube mount at the front. They protect my hearing sufficiently. I think they are comfortable-ish. They're not the most comfortable. I do have to adjust them every time that I wear them. And if I'm being honest, I feel like at times, depending on my hat, headwear, glasses, the seal, I'm not the most happy with as far as how it seals around my ear with all those added extra elements. Like if I'm wearing a knit cap, I have to push it up to where, it's almost not usable at that point. Baseball cap I can use just fine. Some people I've seen where they will wear their knit cap and then wear the hearing protection over their knit cap, over their ears. I'm not a fan of that. I'm just, if you do damage to your hearing, like the tinnitus, not for everybody. There's no going back. I'm not willing to risk the not for everybody to have, say, a hat in between my ear and my hearing protection. Now, like I said a little earlier, I do think, depending on the duration that you're wearing the hearing protection, how thick the frames on your eye protection are, that how they dimple into your face gets very uncomfortable with this hearing protection, especially over prolonged periods of time. Now, one advantage is the battery compartment is very easy to get to, and it just uses two AA batteries that are very easy to fit into the hearing protection and replace. You don't have to do sort of like the internal box-fed magazine reload like you do on the other hearing protection. Now, here's one, what I consider major unexpected downside of this hearing channel, or hearing protection with regard to this channel. We have a set of wireless microphones that we would use when recording videos, say to help get better dialogue with less background noise. The problem is, and I might use some wrong terminology here, so bear with me if I do, is I believe this hearing protection wiring or some other component of it is not shielded. because as soon as I turn on my wireless microphone, you will get a overwhelming nasty buzz in this hearing protection. And there are other things that cause it, like something with my computer setup, the wireless Wi-Fi. I'm not sure what piece of technology it is right now, but wearing this hearing protection, if I turn the amplification on, you will get a nasty hiss, crackle, buzz, like a old style television on a bad channel, but if it was at like max volume. It's unbearable to the point where I can't use those wireless microphones and this amplification at the same time. We do occasionally use those microphones in videos, or when we use them, sometimes you don't even notice them. Whenever we do use them, though, I can't use the amplification at all. And one nice thing that I like about this hearing protection is the way the volume works on this amplification is it goes to a much quieter level to where I can set it at a comfortable conversation volume to like talk with the crew while we're at the range and not have to yell at each other without feeling like my ears are still getting punished. Now let's get to the real topic of today's video, our Sordin Supreme Pro. Now what I really like about the Supreme Pro, let's start off with the band. I don't so far have to adjust it every time, no matter what that I put it on. It's very good at retaining my adjustment spot for then future wearings. And I do think these gel cups are very comfortable with regards to your safety glasses pushing into your face when you're wearing your hearing protection for a longer period of time. Now, I haven't yet stuck my GoPro mount to these, though I'm pretty sure that'll be very easy, maybe even easier with how this has a very easily removable cover on top. Loading the batteries, not nearly as easy as my Impact Pro, though I would say these feel like they are going to be a little more weather resistant than my Impact Pro. Not that I've ever had a problem wearing them in light to moderate weather that I've worn them in so far. I've not worn them in like a blizzard or a tsunami or something, but for the reasonable weather, they've held up. These feel like they will hold up slightly better in that regard, maybe even significantly better. Now, as I mentioned earlier, what I find to be somewhat of a negative is the degree of amplification on these hearing protection. At the lowest volume, I find that amplification to be over aggressive. Do I understand why they did that? Yes. Do I wish they had some levels that were lower that made it easier for people like me to talk at the range without being bombarded with, the walking, the talking of everybody down the line? Yes. That's just a me thing. I don't know if everyone's going to have that same experience in that regard. All our ears are a little different. Now, one unexpected but very pleasant benefit so far of this hearing protection is, unlike my Impact Pro hearing protection, with the Sordin Supreme, I can use the wireless mics or any other, so far, wireless technology in my immediate proximity and have no discernible feedback over the hearing protection. And I think that is very pleasant. When you're trying to talk with people at the range, you don't want to contend with Rice Krispie treats in your ear, snap, crackle, pop constantly going on. You know what I'm talking about? Hopefully you don't, because it's unpleasant. Is it as unpleasant as the E? Not for everybody. No. But in terms of your shooting experience, you don't want Rice Krispie treat ear going on if you can help it. So, do I think the extra price of the Sordin Supreme is worth it to remove Rice Krispie treats ear? Maybe. Maybe. Here's another interesting observation, and one thing you need to keep in mind here is when we are at the indoor range, an outdoor range like Banner, or even an open outdoor training facility, I would say the vast majority of the time, besides the over-ear hearing protection, we will have doubled up and also wear in-ear, soft ear hearing protection, just to give that extra layer of hopeful defense. Now, many years ago, I was at a shooting contest, a cowboy shoot, a local one that actually had a surprising number of firearms related vendors show up. Henry, Ruger. It was amazing. I was like, holy crap, I didn't know any of these people were going to be here. Never mind, all these people were going to be here. And one of them was a company that I think now they've gone through multiple different iterations of it, but were going to be coming out with an inner ear pro. And they were giving them out like to test everybody. Now I'm not naming them because I don't want people to think that I'm somehow blaming their brand, because I don't think their product, I think it was just my not paying attention because I don't wear in-ear hearing protection. The nice thing about in-ear hearing protection, if you can wear them safely, is you can wear things like your cowboy hat at a cowboy shoot without your hearing protection preventing you from wearing your cowboy hat. So when the vendor walks up to me and is like, hey, try these out, you'll be able to wear your hat, I'm like, boy, howdy, let's do it. I had a good day. Fun. I don't know, I still probably did like dead last or whatever it was, but I had a lot of fun. I was able to wear my hat. I felt like John Wayne from Shanghai Noon. It was awesome. We sit down, mingle after the shoot, into the day. You know, I'm heading home. I stop by the local McDonald's because I got like an hour or so to drive to get home, and I'm like famished at this point. It's like, whatever, that'll do. Get my food. I get on the highway. I'm like, what? Why is it so loud on my left side? I don't remember leaving the window down, and I look over and my window's not down. And I have jet engine sound. Like full on jet engine in my left ear. Because what I had not noticed during the day was at some point my left hearing protection had like jiggled a little bit loose and it wasn't quite sealed. And so then when I'm like shooting my 45 long Colts and like, you know, everyone's going to town, woo-ha, and you know, left ear took a beating. And so it was probably a good 6 months before the jet engine one day just was like, phew. And since then, double up on hearing protection. That's my TED Talk 2.0 on why hearing protection is important. So anyway, an interesting finding so far, in my opinion, about my Sordin Supreme compared to my Impact Pro is doubled up with hearing protection. What I find is, I think because I get a more comfortable seal around my ear with my hearing protection with these compared to these, is that even though these have on paper 5 more decibels of hearing protection value, these ones so far I find actually give me better hearing protection with how it relates to my head and my safety goggles in relation to my head and the geometry of my head and these hearing protection cups and whatnot. Like say for example, the last time we went to the indoor range, I wore my Sordin Supreme with my in-ear hearing protection, was comfortable the entire time with the amplification off. I left and I didn't feel like my ears were still beat up. And I would say the majority of the time, even if I only shoot rim fires with my Impact Pro with the same doubling up on hearing protection, that I walk out and I feel like my ears are a little beat up. Which it's a hard way to phrase it. But when you like beat up your ears, you'll be like, I know exactly what Bacon is talking about here. So tinnitus, not for everybody. Hearing protection, critically important, just like eye protection. Do I like the Sordin Supreme? Absolutely. I'm glad I'm getting to experience them. I would have never thought to experience them with the price point they are at. And what I'm going to look at in a future video is, can we get these same type of gel cups for our more budget friendly, like this channel rolls with, Impact Pro, which are a very good hearing protection in our experience so far, but could they be better? Sordin Supreme has lodged the question in our mind: can we make these better without having to go deep into the wallet to get there? I hope you're interested in finding out like we are. And we're going to have to try to find a safe way to find out without risking not for everybody tinnitus to our ears. Thanks for watching. And as always, have a good day. Don't forget to like and subscribe so Freddy gets his biscuits.